What's up, Planeswalkers? So, despite the fact that I have quite a few Commander Precons, and I have built one sort of Commander deck, it was awful. I built, what's his face, the Brawl Commander that draws cards when you play creatures. Chilane, that's the one. Despite the fact that I've done that, this series is going to be me talking about, because I'm basically a Commander newbie. Despite the fact that I am really decent at standard deck building and playing the decks and such, I'm pretty decent at sealed or limited environments. I regularly top 5, usually top 3. I can build a decent deck. The problem is that Commander is a little bit different than pretty much anything else that we've been doing of the stuff that I've talked about. The limited environment is different than the standard environment, which is different than the modern environment, which is different than the Pioneer environment, and Commander is different than Brawl, is different than Canadian Highlander. There's just so many different things that you can do. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to talk about it from a newbie's perspective. So I'm going to crack into this, and we're going to see what it is that I think about it from somebody who is officially just getting into Commander. So, Commander decks. They come with the oversized card of your primary commander that may or may not come out of the little plastic housing. Come on, there we go. So this is an oversized card. I don't generally see people use oversized commander cards. Mainly, I think, because they're more difficult to transport. But it's still pretty cool. Eventually, I'm going to take some of the cheaper Commanders Precon cards. Let's put him in the frame. And I'll build a cool deck out of it, but that's low priority. Comes with the deck box. Comes with a... I like it. I like the little cardboard life counter because it goes up to 40. And then as you count it down, you get to 21. When you go under 21, you flip it over, it's on 20, and you can start altering from there. I think it's neat. I assume this was supposed to be an anti-theft device card. It is not. It is just a blank card. I'll keep that. Looks neat. Deck box to hold things, and cards. Okay. So let's dig into these. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these into Commander deck exclusives and Ikoria, because as you see, we got the tokens. Some of these have the Commander deck thing on them. And then some of them have the little eyeball, meaning that it's from that actually is in the Ikoria set. We don't really care about the lands because they're just land. Well, there's not really a ton. I guess just the lands are showing as... Nope, there we go. So all these things that I'm pulling aside right now are things that you can pull in a draft booster of the newest set from Ikoria. And then we have that. Okay. So these are cards that the deck was kind of built to use from the Ikoria stuff, because based on what I've looked at so far for all 5 of these, they are all set in Ikoria. You have 3 non-human-y things and 2 human-y things, and you have all the different colors from the different triomes. So, at least I'm pretty sure these are all from the triomes. Let's find out. We've got the triomes. So this one is black, green, blue. So we have a Zagoth triome. So probably, and they're probably designed that way on purpose so that you can use the triomes in there. But anyway, because the triomes are a thing, that means that those are the themes in Ikoria, and each of these kind of, I think they're designed to kind of go that direction. So with Otrimi, the Ever Playful, he is a 6/6 for 6 that you can mutate for 4. I do not know if mutate casting costs is affected by commander tax. I assume that it would be, but I have not looked into it, so might be important. But anyway, it's a 6/6 trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, return target creature card with mutate from your graveyard to your hand. So, you know, mutate is going to be a pretty heavy theme in here. And you can see that all of the creatures from the Ikoria set are all mutate type creatures. So there's that. Okay. So that was the main guy. Alternate commander is Zexara the Exemplary. It's a 2/3 for 4. 1 black, green, blue. For a legendary creature, Nightmare Hydra. It's Death Touch. Tap, add 2 mana of any 1 color. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token. Then put X +1/+1 counters on it. So basically every X spell gets you a free Hydra if this is on the field. So this is your commander. You want to get it out as often as possible. All right, we have Khazur Ruthless Stalker and his buddy, because they are a partner setup. Partner with Ukima Stalking Shadow. 3/3, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Which should play with, can't be blocked, so that's why. When it leaves the battlefield, it deals X damage to target player, and you gain X life, where X is its power. So that's what they're designed to do. He makes it bigger, that when it leaves the battlefield, it deals damage and you gain life. That's kind of cool. I do wonder if we're going to have a partner in each of them. I don't know. I really haven't looked into them except for the face commander stuff. So we'll see. So command tower always include if you've got more than 1 color. I mean, heck, you could also include it for if you're doing single color, because this would get around conversion. It's a white spell enchantment. All mountains are plains, something like that. Enters battlefield tapped, bounce a land. Enters battlefield tapped, bounce a land. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Enter battlefield tapped. What? Why are there so many enter the battlefield tapped lands? That's garbage. And I guess Commander might be a little bit different, but I didn't think it was that slow. I don't know. Maybe we upgrade the mana base, because that is a crap load of tap lands. And this is only useful if you have 5 or more lands. So you've got that in your opening hand. You've got 2 lands and this. You can't cast a 3 casting cost thing with this, because this doesn't tap for anything unless you have 5 or more lands. This mana base is garbage. Anyway, so we got a commander deck, exclusive, rare. This one is definitely brand new because it has the mutate mechanic on it. 4/4 flying for 5 or mutate for 6. Whenever this creature mutates, gain control of target non-creature artifact. I guess it's playing on the fact that ravens and such like to collect shiny things. Tidal Barracuda. It's 3/4 for 4. Any player may cast spells as though they had flash. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Well, that's an interesting way to go about it. Everybody can play a flash, so you don't really want to get rid of it, but opponents can't interact with your turn on your turn. Boneyard Mycodrax's power and toughness are each equal to the number of other creature cards in your graveyard. Wait, what? So it has power and toughness while in the graveyard as well? Oh, because of the scavenge ability. Okay. So scavenges, exile this card from your graveyard, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. Okay, I get it. Deadly Rollick. If you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. These will always be sought after for whatever color, because basically they're free most of the time. Exile target creature for free. Why not? Dredge the Mire. Each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Okay. I assume we're going to have some sort of graveyard hate, where we're going to be able to remove things except the things we want. Excuse me. Mind Leecher, 5/5 flying with a mutate ability. Whenever this creature mutates, exiles the top card of your library, card of each opponent's library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. So even after he's gone. Well, that's an interesting one. Especially if somebody set up their next draw step with something that they wanted, and you're like, nope, it's mine now, you can't have it. This is our first X spell of the thing. Capricopian enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Pretty straightforward. Tap 2, put a +1/+1 counter on Capricopian. Then you may reselect which player Capricopian is attacking. Only the player Capricopian is attacking may activate this ability, and only during the declare attacker's step. And it can't attack its controller. What? That's ridiculous, and I love it. Alright. Sawtusk Demolisher. Yeah, because that's a logical way for tusks to grow so that you can cut trees or something. 6/6 for 6 or mutate for 4. Trample. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. That's kind of neat. It's like a recurable Beast Within. I think I saw a Beast Within in here. Anyway, Manascape Refractor enters battlefield tapped. Manascape Refractor has all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to pay the activation costs of Manascape Refractor's abilities. Neat. So basically, if there's an activated ability of any land on the battlefield, does that include tapping? So, like, it can tap for whatever color of any land on the battlefield, or it can do other stuff as well? I don't know. I'd have to look into that one. That one looks interesting. This is a reprint. Mind Spring, draw X cards. Seen that one before. Deadly Tempest, destroy all creatures. Each player loses life equal to the number of creatures they controlled that were destroyed this way. That's interesting. I think that's a reprint. Profane Command. That sounds real familiar. Another X spell, that's good. Target player loses X life. Return target creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. Or up to X target creatures gain fear until end of turn. Well, that's kind of cool. And if you got that one dude out, then you get to make a XX Hydra. Animus' Awakening is a reprint. Reveal the top cards of your library. Put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And if there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, untap those lands. Beast Whisperer, that's a recent reprint. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Genesis Hydra, another X spell. When you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest into your library. And of course it enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. Weird as it is, I don't think that Otrimi the Ever Playful is the best commander for this one. I mean, it's nice, you get some graveyard recursion, but there's way better ways to do it. I think. There's not a ton of flying in this deck. Or trample. So you only if Otrimi does a thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Granted, I'm still kind of new at this, but that seems a little not correct. Anyway, this is a reprint. Masked Admirers is a reprint. I remember that because that is a really creepy freaking picture there. When there's battlefield, draw a card. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay double green. If you do, return Masked Admirers from your graveyard to your hand. Predator Ooze. Indestructible. Whenever it attacks, put a counter on it. Whenever it deals damage to a creature, and then that creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So, initially it's just a little bitty thing, but as the game goes on, it gets worse and worse. Vastwood Hydra is a reprint, and there's a battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies, you can redistribute those. Vortipede's a reprint. 5/4 Vigilance Trample with Undying. It comes back with counters on it. Cold-Eyed Selkie, that's a reprint. I think that was most recently reprinted in the Merfolk versus Goblins. I think. But that's a 1/1 Island Walk, so that's always good because people love to play their blue. Find and Finality, that's a reprint from one of the Ravnica things. Gaze of Granite, that's a really, really cheap reprint. Nissa, Steward of Elements, that's a reprint from Amonkhet. So, that's not bad though. Nissa's a decent planeswalker, and this one's kind of neat because she comes in with X, so she has an X casting cost spell, which would make a Hydra, which would be able to defend her. Then she pluses to scry 2. You can do 0, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, you can put that card onto the battlefield. And then untap up to 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste until end of turn. They're still lands. So late game, you can actually create 10 flying damage out of nowhere. Villainous Wealth, reprint. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library. You may cast any number of spells with converted mana cost X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. Widewin, the Biting Gale. That does not seem familiar to me. Flash Flying. 3/3 for 4. Pay a life, return Widewin the Binding Gale to its owner's hand. I don't know. Seems like it might have been reprinted in the originally printed in the Lorwyn block. Just kind of the art and the stuff that goes with it. And the fact that everything around it is a reprint. I don't know. I'm not sure how these are lined out. Lifecrafter's Bestiary is a reprint. That's from Aether Revolt. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay a green. If you do, draw a card. So card advantage is always a good thing. Silent Arbiter's had a couple of reprints, I believe. It's a 1/5 or 4. But no more than one creature can attack each combat. No more than one creature can block each combat. That actually plays really well with the mutate. You make a big old beastie monster of beastie monsterness. And they can only block with one thing. Darkwater Catacombs. 1 tap, add that. At least it doesn't come into play tapped. There's that at least. Endless Sands makes it colorless. Exile target creature you control. Sacrifice Endless Sands. Return each creature card exiled with Endless Sands to the battlefield under its owner's control. Exotic Orchard. Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Llanowar Wastes. That's a pain land? Is that right? Because in order to make color, you have to do that. I don't know. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. The great thing about it is the island swamp. So when you do your upgrade, it is fetchable. Bonder's Ornament. This is a new one. Add 1 mana of any color. Tap 4 and each player who controls a permanent named Bonder's Ornament draws a card. I assume that Bonder's Ornament is in all of the Commander Precons. And that's it's a very political card. Don't attack me, I'll let you draw a card. That kind of thing. Arcane Signet, that's a reprint from the Brawl decks. Soul Ring, that's a thing that they have to reprint every single time they make one of these. Psychic Impetus. So, enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 2. So it has to attack, and it has to attack not you, if possible. Parasitic Impetus. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. And Predatory Impetus. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, must be blocked if able, and is goaded. Neat. Illusory Ambusher, flash, 4/1. Whenever Illusory Ambusher is dealt damage, draw that many cards. So you toss that in there, it totally dies, because that's what it's designed to do, but you get to draw a crap ton of cards and maybe kill something. Muldrifter, enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. You can evoke it just to draw. Propaganda, creatures you can't attack unless you can... Sorry. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. That's just designed to slow them down a bit, because you're trying to make one big dude. Reprint, obviously. Shriekmaw, reprint. It's got Fear and Evoke. You can destroy stuff with it. Beast Within. That's an interesting thing. We have a recurable Beast Within and a regular Beast Within. Hero's Bane, I think that's from Theros, and has that been downshifted? I thought Hero's Bane was rare. Regardless, it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and then you can double it for 4. Kodama's Reach, reprint. You can never have too many of those. Right now it's still $2 and change. Crows and Grips the same way. Reprint. Rexage. Excellent reprint and inclusion. Yavimaya Dryad. 2/1 Forest Walk for 3. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a forest, put it onto the battlefield tapped under target player's control. If you do, shuffle your library. Well, that's interesting. I can't imagine you'd want to give lands away. But I guess you can. Putrefy, destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. Trigon Predator. I don't know if that's a reprint or not. The art's not familiar. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Not a bad include for green-blue. So, overall, I guess it's neat. It's an interesting deck. I honestly don't know if you're playing against multiple people that you really want to make one big dude. And if you do, is this the best way to do it? Shouldn't we have like equipment, or things like that we can put onto and make better than, rather than just putting all of our creatures in one spot? Because equipment, it dies. When it comes back, we can re-equip it. It's not as good because we lost the other creatures attached to it. Like you say, we have the trumpeting Gnar on it, and we have the Boneyard Lurker on it. So it's a 6/6 with bring things back from the graveyard, and when it mutates, create a beast. So we've created 1/2 beasts, and then it dies, but it was just a 6/6 trample. It doesn't get any stronger than the strongest thing that made it up. So, I don't know. Just seems like this is a little lackluster. I mean, it's neat. It's an interesting deck idea, but I don't know. I need to play with it, and we'll see what happens after that happens. So, I will see you guys next time, Planeswalkers. Do the normal thing, the whole subscribe and bell notifications and all that good stuff. And I will see you next video.